Hello there, this is Sandy, and I'm back at the machine again, working on my journey with the Babylock Solaris 3, same as the Vision. Today I'm working on a bag, and I'm going to see how this goes. The bag that I'm working on is called the Eagle Zippered bag, and it's from a company off of Etsy that I have not used before, Disorderly Threads. So I've printed out the design and I've transferred it from my laptop to the machine here. So I'm going to pull that up by going into embroidery and then this pocket. And then because I transferred through Wi-Fi, I go here and here it is right here. And it appears here, so I press set. And here we are. Now, if I wanted to change anything here, I could, but since this is the first time I'm making this, I'm just going to go right towards the next screen. All right. The first step is, of course, to look at the directions and cut out your fabrics according to those directions and whatever you choose. The first step it's telling me to do is to hoop my stabilizer in a 5x7 hoop, and then do the placement lines for the zipper. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in the machine, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch the placement lines. It says I can use 7 inches or longer. I think I'm going to use this one. It's blue. It's a little longer than 7 inches. I think it's 9. All right, so lay the closed zipper face up between these lines with a zipper pulled to the left. So I'm going to put it off to the side. I'm just going to pull this out and make it easier. I'm going to pause you while I put the tape on. Okay, so I have it taped down. And so the next step it wants me to do is to turn over the hoop, which I did. Make sure that the bottom edge of the lining aligns with the lower zipper placement line, and then I tape it, and I will do that and come back. Now I'm going to turn over the hoop and lay the front bottom fabric right side toward the stabilizer. And quickly turn this over and around. Probably could pin this just to make sure it doesn't flop over in the hoop. And it's a good thing I left some room with the stabilizer. So on the front side of the hoop, lay the front bottom fabric right side toward the stabilizer in the same position as the lining is aligned with the lower zipper placement line. Okay, so I'm going to do this. The lower zipper placement line is about there. And then I'll tape it in place. And I'll come back. Okay, so I have it all taped in place. The stitch number 2, which I've ended up changing the thread because I have a red, white, and blue thread. And I think I'm going to slow this down a little bit since I haven't stitched this pattern, and we'll see how that goes. So this stitch secures the lower half of the zipper, which that totally makes sense. Now I place the front and bottom piece of the batting, and I'm going to place that batting on the stabilizer below the zipper. And fold down the fabric over the top of the batting. So I can take this tape off. And I did look for other tape. I know I have another roll somewhere that I got from my favorite local sewing store, the Sewing Source in Lake Villa, but I could not find it. I'm going to put the stabilizer below the zipper, so that's just here. Okay, and then it wants me to take this fabric and fold it over. I think I'm going to pause this and iron it because I didn't get a chance to do that. Okay, I gave that red piece a little press, so we're ready to proceed. Then we stitch the next step, which is the placement line for the eagle. Well, that's exciting. So we'll do that. That's number 3. I'm getting the gray fabric ready. I have this variegated red, white, and blue thread that I bought to make earrings, and it's like a cotton. So I did use it for the earrings, but I didn't really like the way. A lot of people thought they were pretty, but I didn't really like the way they looked. I wanted it to be more of a polyester look with embroidery thread. And so I'm using it for other projects like this. Maybe some red, white, and blue quilting. And I'm doing, this project. Anything where I can use up the thread because it was a pretty big roll of it. So I'm getting ready with the gray fabric. And I'm going to lay that right side facing up, covering the bottom area of the eagle, because this is the part that I'll be working on with the gray that I chose. This looks pretty straightforward, pretty easy. We'll see how it goes. So I'm just going to lay this fabric down here. Make sure I've got the top and the bottom covered, which it is. And then I'll have to get ready to trim. I should have my little purple thing. I'm going to go ahead and get the table ready so I can trim. And I don't feel like recording trimming, around here is super important. But especially this one because it's got a lot of little nooks and crannies. But I'll use this little snipper to do that, since there are lots of curves, and I'll be back. Okay, so I went ahead and I trimmed away the extra excess fabric. And I could change the embroidery color to be gray like they have in the picture, but I want to see what this looks like with the variegated thread. So I'll just go ahead and stitch the next step. I'm going to do a satin stitch. This takes about 3 minutes. Usually when it does a satin stitch, it just goes at the speed the machine requires too. So I can't really speed this up. But I do like how it's looking, so I'm going to leave it. And I really like how that's looking over here. It's a very nice satin stitch. These are all the things you look at when you buy from a company that, oh, one moment. Hey there, I'm back, and I have been doing a lot of things since I had that little thread jam, and I can explain what happened and share my lessons learned. So, as I was stitching this out, it started to get noisy, like not a normal satin stitch sound. I stopped the machine, noticed it was starting to bunch up, and so I thought, uh-oh. I ended up using this tool, which is great. I got it just in case by, let's see, Madame So, the bird's nest tool. It's got this knife, which is really sharp. It's got an extra blade, and it's got a hook in case you need help grabbing it out. Well, I didn't need help once I used this blade. Super sharp. It came right out of the hoop. I had no problems. It was wonderful. So I'm so glad I bought that from the local sewing store, the Sewing Source in Lake Villa. So now the problem was, after I released it, I gently lifted the frame, and because it was so, initially it was still so tight, it came out of the frame. So this fabric moved a little bit. So I have to make sure that it's lined up, because I've already stitched out like half of this design. So that's what I'm going to do, is going to go back to the machine. I had to exit my design, and I need to go back in so I can use the projector and the camera. So I go into embroidery, the pocket, the Wi-Fi, because that's where my design's at, and there's my design, and press set. So now I can go right into embroidery. I'm going to use this camera and scan it, because I have stitched out, I'll press OK, the pattern already. I have to scan to get a starting point, like what am I lining up to? So this camera helps me to scan what I've stitched out so far, and when it's done, it will put an image on the screen over here. So there's my eagle. Now I also have already loaded the design, so if I turn this off, you can see this is the design. See, I have to make sure that that lines up. So that's step one. And I can make it lighter or darker depending on what I'm trying to do with the background image and the stitching. But right now I'm going to do the projector. And what happens when I do that is it takes the design and projects it down on the pattern, on the fabric. And usually when it's on a darker color, I use a darker background color, and if I'm looking at projection on a lighter color, I'll change to the light. And that's what I'll be doing over here. And I'll be using these move keys, and if I have to, rotate, but I don't think I need to do that much. So let's go look at the design. So I'm on the dark fabric, so I have the dark background showing. I'm going to move the projector down here because that's where I stitched out stuff already. In fact, I'm going to move it over to this side and see if I can, you know, I'm going to change it to that lighter color. Oh, I'm way off. So I have to keep moving. And what happens is it popped out of my frame so much that I have to wiggle it back so it fits in. You know, move the, looks like I need to move it over to the left, my fabric. So that's what I'll be doing really quick. Okay, I got my bobbin loaded, and I went ahead and I tried to just gently move it over. And I think I've got it. Now I'm going to make that darker so I can see how it shines here. Now I'll go lighter and I'll move it over. Let's see that. Almost needs to go down a little bit. Then I'll go up and I'll do the darker background so I can see like looks like it's lined up good here. And I'm moving this little box. I should show you. There's a little box on this machine. Move it over, I can see this part of the eagle. If I move it down, I can see the bottom part. Now, this is the Babylock Solaris. The Vision has a larger box. I think it even has more background colors. That's a great machine, but this is the machine I have. If you're interested in even the machines, they have them at the Sewing Source in Lake Villa. They could tell you more about it. So I'm going to continue to work here a little bit longer to make sure I've got things lined up. Yep. Now it looks like it's shining down good here. And I'm going to look where I stitched. I don't see anything. I'm going to try and move it down to see if I can see it. There. It was just outside. You probably can't see the little adjustments that I'm making, but I think that's probably good. So I'm going to press OK. Now I have to advance my machine to get to about where I left off. So I'll go into the needle plus minus and I'll go to thread color 5 using the down arrow 3, 4, 5. And it's at 1369 stitches. I was at 2241, so I probably want to get to like, I don't know, 2100. So if I go up 1,000 and then back another 100, let's see where I am over here, because it moves while I'm doing it. See, it's still, I need to go back over to here. So I need to go back. And let me see, I'm going to use that W plus to shine it down. See, here's the little light. And now we're ready again. So let's keep going. I slowed it down since it's using this heavier thread to help it out. Must be this cotton thread, it doesn't like it. Almost like $25 for the spool. I think slowing it down helped. And I don't think I'll use it for the other parts. I just thought it would be cool. Alright, so that's stitching out. Hopefully it will finish. And after that, it looks like we get ready to lay down the white fabric for the eagle head. The white fabric, I needed a 7x7 piece. So we got that ready. I just slow it down a little. You help it get around this corner because it was starting to sound weird again. There we go. And it looks like the projector lined up, everything okay. All right, lay the white fabric, right side facing up, covering the white area. So there we go. Okay, I ended up changing the needle again because it kept missing stitches. It wasn't stitching, it wasn't forming the stitch. And that was a brand new needle and it just did all that satin stitching. So, being temperamental today, definitely. It's like one of those projects where every single thing goes wrong. So this is the eagle head, and I'll be cutting around that outline. I think I'm going to go ahead and change this thread. I've sewn with it before, and I thought I could use it for the whole thing, but I think I'm going to switch it now that we're halfway through. I'm just really happy that it lined up okay. Oh, this is going to finish its second round of stitching, and then I'm going to pull it out of the hoop and cut around it, because that will take a while with all these nooks and crannies, and put my new thread, and then I'll be back. Okay, I'm back, and I am ready to do step 7, which is the satin stitch, the white area of the eagle. I'm just going to let it go slow at first to make sure I don't have any more jams. I shouldn't. I have a good Filtech bobbin in the bottom. It sounds better. Okay, I'm going to close this window, and I'm going to see how long. This is a 17-minute stitch out, so I think, let's see if I can speed it up now that we're doing better. Not good. Now it still shows 17 because the satin stitch only goes so fast. So I'll let you watch a little bit of this. Maybe what I'll do is I'll edit it to speed it up. Okay, that's a pretty good stitch out of the white. I think that looks really, really good. So now I'm changing it to, this is step 8, the yellow for the eye. And I'll get ready for the next one, which is a gold. And then a black. I'm using my 10 spool thread rack. It always comes in handy. Okay, and the next color is like a darker gold. So we'll put that in there. Whoops, somehow it did not thread. Perfect, okay. So we're on step 9 out of 18. We're halfway there. Oh, that's nice. I like the detail of this pattern. And again, I found it on Etsy. Disorderly threads. all my thread I get from my local sewing store, the sewing source in Lake Villa. So if you're in the area, stop by and check them out. Looks like we're going back to white thread after this, which is probably that last little shading of satin stitches for the eye. I'm sorry, above the eye. It's like this, only it's going to go across the eye and then over the top. Yep, that's what's next. These are just quick stitch outs. I always cut my thread at the top and then pull it through the needle. You're less likely to have issues in the thread path. Birdie! Mechanic at the store. Yeah, so this is step 11. I heard a little. Okay, good. It's still sewing okay. I always listen to my machine when it's working on something like this, or if it's acting up. And then there's other times where if it's doing a long stitch out and it's doing fine, I'll use the Babylock monitoring app. Because if it's a very long stitch out, sometimes it's nice. You have to run to the lake, the bathroom, or something. You can just watch it from there on your phone or tablet. The next one, step is 12, which is the tack down stitching for the beak. So I'm getting my yellow fabric ready and my thread. I could use white. I don't have to change the thread. Yeah, so I'm going to lay that fabric down right side facing up on the hoop covering the beak. And I'm going to trim this little part so it doesn't get caught in this round of satin stitches. I'm so happy I was able to save it. I have started, when I was trying to figure out the jam issue down here, I redid things probably 4 times. So I was trying to record and get it right, and then it would happen again. And finally I was testing like the bobbin and the thread and the needle and, you know, rethreading everything, cleaning everything. And that took a long time to figure it out, but it's like if I didn't use that thread, I think this would have been a really fast and easy in the hoop project. It is beautiful. It's turning out beautiful. Okay, there's the fabric for the beak. Now it's going to tack it down, and then I will have to trim it away. So when it's done tacking down, I'll just take it off to the side and trim. Definitely could go smaller on the pieces that they say you need to use, but better to have more than not enough. So I will take this away, trim it, and I'll come back. Alright, I got it threaded. I cut around the beak, and I've got my yellow thread in, so we're ready for this step. It's just 13. We're getting there. We're almost done. I'm still amazed at that projector. How good it is. Really wonderful to have. I think if you're local, or even if you're not, and you're interested in one of these Solaris machines, this is a Babylock Solaris 3. which means it has the 3 upgrades in it. So it's equivalent as far as features go to the Vision. And there is, I think, one Solaris Vision available for sale at the Sewing Source in Gurnee. Their link to their store is in my description if you're interested in helping out a small store. But yeah, I love this machine, and I've had it 2 years, and I still love it as much as I did, even more than I did on day one. And I am here to share what I'm learning with others, to encourage others to use the machine, not be afraid. I got a little bit afraid with that jam here, that I wasn't going to be able to figure it out. I thought there was something wrong with it, but then through the process of elimination, I figured out it didn't like this red, the red, white, and blue thread, and it was kind to me that it actually did the satin stitch. It's interesting that it went from here to here without having problems, and then all of a sudden it just started choking. And after I figured out to just put a lighter weight bobbin in the back, with like lighter weight thread in the back, it was okay. I could have loosened the tension of the bobbin, but I hardly ever have to do that. But those are all things I could have tried. Next, we stitch the nostril of the beak, so I have to put the black back in just for a little speck on the beak. And then it looks like we're working on lining. This isn't such a long stitch out. This color was only 3 minutes. So I figure you all are interested in seeing that short stitch out, since it's kind of fun to watch it come together, come to life. Stitch, you know, this in the hoops projects can be longer videos, and I did one in the hoop project with the Easter blessing table runner, and I tried to categorize them, like 1 of 10 or 2 of 10 or 3 of 10, to show like how I did each of the hoopings. So I really broke it down, and people were interested in the first 2. I even connected by putting a link in the video to the next video or to the previous video. I tried to do that, but people were more interested in the first 2, I think, out of, I think I did 10 videos. So that was baffling that there was so much interest in the first 2, but not the rest. But, all right, so next it says to turn over the hoop. I'm going to do that here. And we're going to fold the lining down. And I had it pinned. So now it's time. I probably should take this tape off. I'm being careful not to disturb the hoop. All right, so I'm folding this down. And it says tape or pin in place. So I'll just use a little tape. Next, still looking at the back, lay the lining top fabric right side toward the stabilizer. And so that's this piece. Okay, with the long edge lining up with the upper edge of the zipper. So the upper edge of the zipper is here. It's face down. Make sure, yeah, the upper edge of the zipper. I'll just double check. This is the upper edge. Yep. And there. All right. I can even move it over a little. I think that should be good. Now, I'm on page 12. On the front, okay, it didn't say to tape, so I'm going to do that. Okay. I'm even going to put that a little bit here. Okay. On the front, lay the front fabric right side toward, so I gotta get the front top. On the front, lay the front top fabric right sides towards the stabilizer with the long edge lining up with the upper edge of the zipper. So that's pretty simple. Since this side is stitched down, I can take this off. And now it wants me to put this here. Lining up with, I'm going to use new tape. That's the upper edge of the zipper. Pin and tape tape into place. So there we go. Next, I stitch the next step, which is 15, which secures the top edge of the zipper. Now, I suppose I could use the black again because that would be good with the blue. Okay, so next is step 15. Like I said, we're going to stitch the next step. Then hopefully this lines up. Let me use my little thing here. It looks like it's okay. Remember, with the thread jam, I had to realign things. And one of the things I was looking at were these lines, were the placement lines for the zipper. And luckily, it does. Okay. Next, lay the smallest batting piece on the stabilizer. Let me get that. It wants me to lay above the zipper and fold the front top fabric up to the top hoop. All right, so here's this. That's the zipper. Well, that's handy. Okay, pin in place. So I'll take this out and put it on a flat surface. I think I'm going to go press this. I'll be back. Okay, I pressed it and I put some tape up at the top and I'm ready to stitch the stars. This is an 8-minute stitch out and I think I can speed it up again at this part. Alright, I usually have all my thread picked out. I usually pick something different than the machine gives me, but today is one of those days. I just wanted to get this project done. I just wanted to go and work on it. Alright, so while this is stitching out the stars, the next step, it says I need to remove the hoop from the machine and turn it over to the back, then fold the lining top fabric up to the top of the hoop and pin in place. It will stitch 3 stars. one more star. I'm going to pause it, and then I will be back when the star is finished and I've got it flipped over. Okay, here is the finished stars. And now it's calling me to flip the hoop over, which I'm going to do in front of me. I don't know if you can see that, or if you want to see that. Fold the lining fabric up to the top of the hoop and pin in place or tape. I'm going to pause you and iron it a little. Okay, I've done that. Now, turn the hoop over to the front. At this time, you need to open your zipper 2/3 of the way. Okay. Also fold the ribbon piece in half, forming a loop, and tape the raw edges into place toward the top edges of your hoop, with the looped end touching the zipper and the center the ribbon. One moment. Okay, I've got the stars stitched out. The ribbon is taped near the top, about where they show in the picture, and the raw edges are at the top. The zipper is 2/3 open, and it's all taped in place. Then on the front side of the hoop, lay the back fabric right side down. This is the back. Actually, this is the back. Inside the hoop. There's that. Next, lay the largest batting on top of that. Ooh, not the same size. And then lay the tearaway stabilizer on that and pin in place. Okay, one moment. All right, I pinned it as best as I could. I laid the back fabric down, then I laid the largest batting down, and then tearaway stabilizer on top of that. I'm not quite sure why we need the tearaway stabilizer, but I'm just following the directions. Next, we're on step 17 out of 18, and we can stitch around the hoop. I'm just making sure things stay tacked down, and it looks like I placed things okay, so yay for that. Could have been a little bit over to the left more on the batting, but it looks good. Okay. Next is the last step. Remove from the machine the hoop, turn it over. So I'm looking at the back. There's the back. Okay. Next. This is hard to do it on this. I don't have much room to work. All right, so next it says, lay the lining piece right side toward the stabilizer and tape or pin in place. So that's one more thing I need to do, and that's what I'll do, and I'll be right back. All right, didn't mean to pause you on that one, but I accidentally dropped my lining piece, and it's telling me to put it face down towards the stabilizer. Pin in place, and I find it too, I don't like to disturb the hoop, especially after having the hoop fall apart once by pinning. I've already tried to pin some things in place. I'm just going to tape it. And I've got the machine slowed down, so then all I need to do is return it to the machine and stitch out the last step. This stitches almost all the way around, leaving a little space to open the turn. Oops. Okay. Then I think, yeah, I just did a double check. So that's what I'll do next. Next, I will remove it from the hoop, trim to a 1/4 inch, clip the corners and curves, turn right side out, and stitch the opening closed. Or you can do other methods if you want. Some people like to use fusible tape. With the scissors, remove the stabilizer at the zipper area. Since the zipper is open, you can now turn your bag right side out. Alright, so this is the end. It's doing like a couple rounds of stitching to secure this whole thing together. I'm going to trim it and turn it inside out and do those things it just said to do, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I did go ahead and turn it inside out, and then it says in the directions to if this is the first phase of turning it inside and out, and I wish I would have left a little more on the opening to make it easier to turn inside out and also to fold it in and close it at this end. I left a little, but I wish I would have left more. So I'm going to make a note, and then it says to slit this open because this is phase 2 of turning it out. This is why we open the zipper, so that we can turn it right side out. I think that's tape. So I'm going to do that next. I just wanted to show that part, that you have to slice that first before turning it inside out in round 2. And I also wanted to mention, when they say remove, I didn't remove it. I just put a slit in it because I think I've done that in another one, but it wasn't wide enough. So when they say remove, they mean remove this. So I'm going to be doing that on both sides. I'll turn it right side out and I'll be done. I'm almost there. Okay, so it's all turned inside out. There's the front and there's the back, and it opens up. It's just a little wallet, little something. You can stick it in your purse. I guess if you want, you can just carry it, but I thought that was really, really nice. And the pattern I thought was really nice too. So I would do this one again. It was fun. I just had trouble with my machine. Otherwise, it would have been perfect. I think if I would have went with just a gray here, maybe that thread was too much for my machines, but it's just gorgeous. This designer did a great job. So it's called Disorderly Threads. Again, LLC by Karen Wilson. I found it on Etsy, and it's called Eagle Zippered Bag. So I hope you enjoyed this In the Hoop project. Give the video a like. Thank you again for watching.